Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In these videos, I livestream the development of the AnyRPG Engine, a 100% free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. These videos are unscripted and give you a chance to take a behind-the-scenes look at the unfiltered, methodical side of software development. For more information on AnyRPG, be sure to check out AnyRPG.org, where you can find documentation on the engine, links to the full source code at the official GitHub repository, and downloadable versions of AnyRPG Alpha, a free game designed to showcase the features of the AnyRPG engine. If you'd like to see more of this type of content in the future, be sure to subscribe to the Cohesion YouTube channel, like the videos, or just leave a comment in the comments telling me what you would like to see. In today's episode, we will be continuing the creation of prefabs and scriptable objects for the Unity package so that we can release a Unity package of this game, or of the engine, so that people can actually start using it. This will be following up on the work that we did last time to find a bunch of animations that we could use that were public domain, so we had basically the ability to redistribute them in a package format. Since last episode, I went through and I searched basically the entire library, like all 2,500 animations. Let me actually just pull up the one here so you can see which one we'll be using. Okay, there we go. So we're using the huge mocap FBX library, all three parts of it from the Carnegie Mellon University mocap library. And so I went through these animations and I was looking for some stuff that we could use basically for casting animations. And I'll show you what I found before we get started here. So oh, no, you know what I need to look for? Casting. I haven't actually used them yet. There we go. So this range of motion one right here, I couldn't find a lot of like really good specific casting animations, but this range of motion one right here, this guy, let's see if I can move through here. Yeah, there we go. Like at some point here, he starts like waving his hands around in front of him. And this sort of looks like the kind of thing you might be doing if you were trying to like perform a spell cast or something. So I was thinking about using parts of that basically for the spell casting. And then we have Mickey Mouse conducting right here. And he does like a lot of, there we go, like stuff like that. Like that could be, I think, used as a spell cast, that kind of stuff too, right? Like, yeah, like that. So all these hand motions, although they weren't necessarily meant as spell casts, they can probably double for spell casts pretty easy. And then there was also, where's Mickey casting? I think cast. Mickey cast spell. Yeah, this one right here. So that's pretty cool. That's like Mickey Mouse casting a spell. And if you've ever seen like those old like original Mickey Mouse Fantasia videos, I'm pretty sure that's what this mocap is from. It all looks like the kind of motions he does in Fantasia. So yeah, we can take those motions. I mean, they're not like super fantastic. If you look at this guy's head here, it's like tilted sideways at the end for some reason. But you know, they're free animations and they're just meant to sort of used as demo animations. I assume anybody who's using this engine for making like a game that they want to release will probably buy some paid animations, but these are great because they're free. So we will use those. And I think to get started, what we'll do is we'll just start creating all of the prefabs that we need for these example abilities. And I think honestly that the best way to do that is going to be to go into our alpha content and look at all of our existing abilities here and basically like just copy them. In fact, like we could pretty much copy almost everything in this resources directory. So what I'll do is just duplicate this resources directory. And this will probably take a little bit. Yeah, it's just thinking right now. And I'm going to just rename like pretty much everything in there one at a time to like example whatever ability. And then that way I will see how many public domain animations we have, and out of those like prefabs that we created, I'll probably go through and create some cubes and maybe some fake weapons and stuff too. But we'll just see out of all that stuff basically how much of this stuff we can replace with public domain assets. So we'll just go into this resources 1 folder here, and let's see, there's already a scene node folder. There's already an ability effect and a base ability. Now these are basically like all the direct ones. So I think let's just copy this into the example, or move it into the example folder, because we'll want to merge these. And I think the easiest way to merge them is actually just to pull the smaller group of ones into the larger group. So when we look here, we have death, level up, loot sparkle, take damage, and white hit. So let's go into the base ability direct folder here, and death, level up, loot sparkle, take damage, and white hit. So we'll remove all those, and then we can take all of these ones and just move them into the direct folder here, and then we can get rid of that. And then in our scene node folder, we can just basically copy all of those directly in here because they're not going to conflict with anything. We already have, right, you know what, we can just delete all those existing scene nodes because in our example we don't need anything other than the example ones we've already created. We're fine for scenes. We just need basically like 2 scenes you can teleport back and forth between to demonstrate the teleport ability. So now we can clean up that folder, and then death, level up, take damage, and white hit. So we will go into the ability effect instant and remove death, level up, take damage, blood, and white hit. Death, level up anything, regular white hit, and take damage, blood. Yeah, that should do. Okay, and then we will move these guys over into there. So from instant to instant, and delete that. Status effects example lootable, so then we'll go look in status effects, and we have one here called lootable. So we'll delete that, and then move example lootable into that status effects folder. And then get rid of ability effect, and then get rid of resources, and then rename this resources to resources. And now in our example folder, which we'll be distributing with the Unity package, we have a complete copy of every ability and ability effect that we had in the alpha game. So now what we want to do, and I'll just demonstrate before we start making replacements here, is if I right click on this folder and I choose select dependencies, we'll get a list of basically like all the prefabs and animations and stuff that these scriptable objects are referencing, hopefully. Eventually. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Interesting that it went into there. Okay, if I hit export package, I wouldn't, I was expecting something else in my inspector there. I was expecting a list of everything. Honestly, I don't think that worked properly. Maybe it did. Okay. Interesting. All right, anyway, so you see basically we have a bunch of stuff coming out of here from, yeah, actually I think it did. Okay, so this is showing us basically all of the animations and stuff that those abilities are using from the third-party packages. So what we want is essentially for that list of stuff to not contain anything from the alpha directory or the used external content directories. We want it to contain only stuff basically from the engine directory and our example directory, like all these prefabs and materials that we made in here. And once we've got that, then we'll have basically standard assets is okay, of course, as well as UMA and Liberation Sans, because that's a public domain font. Once we've got that, then we'll have basically like a package made of complete public domain stuff. So let's get started on basically just going through and replacing all this stuff in here. So let's see, example blast of light AOE. We can replace the icon with sample spell. And the prefab, we have skill attack yellow. Let's just choose, what did I call that again? It was like AnyRPG star sphere. Yeah, yellow sphere. So this is where basically all of these just spheres are going to substitute for spell effects on all the spell effects that we have. So we can go through and actually, you know what? the easiest thing to do is actually going to be replace. Oh, you know what? No, that's fine, because this is reference, no, that's referencing the version of it up there. Okay. So we do need to do some replacements down here first. So let's actually go, oh, you know what? That's fine, actually, because we're in the ability effects. I thought I was doing the abilities there, because the abilities reference ability effects, pretty much all of them. Yeah, okay. No, that's fine. We'll up here is good. So Blizzard Aura AOE. We'll make that into an example. Choose our sample spell icon. And I wonder, you know what, maybe just to make things easier, these all get sample spell icons. Yeah, there, that's good. Now they've all got the icon updated. Okay. And then we just have to give them all example names here. Okay, and these are all pointing, let's see, like this one, fireball projectile. Okay, let's see, actually teleport, we can get rid of most of those because we don't need those. Yeah. We're only going to need 2 teleport ones in here. So we will need a teleport, one for each scene node, basically. So our scene nodes are example combat scene and example default scene. So our teleport effects are going to be teleport example combat scene and teleport example default scene. And you know what, actually probably just, no, actually that's fine. Okay, so let's see, that just needs to be example default scene. And now we have a teleport effect for that, and then this can be teleport example combat scene. And this should say example combat scene. And then spellbook preface. Both of these should have the icon sample port icon. And then we've got some projectiles here. So the big fireball can be replaced with a red sphere. And oops, we can make these ones into examples. And then let's see, the fireball here, we'll give it a sample fire icon. And the blood shield, we'll give it a sample blood icon. And the fairy meteor, we'll give it a, I don't know, sample spell icon. And the fire bolts, we'll give them sample fire icons. Our healing missile, sample throw icon maybe. Ice bolt can get our sample ice icon. Rune sword healing projectile, sure, so sample heal icon I guess. And our tornado, I guess just sample spell icon is okay for that one. And then we just want to add the word example to the beginning of those. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we can add a, whoops, what happened there? Rename that to example meteor strike fall. And we'll just do sample fire for that. And then once we've gone through and replaced all of our ability effects with example versions of themselves, we can just replace all the references after that as well. And like, I mean, I suppose this is the kind of thing that I could possibly build a script to do. I'm pretty sure that actually executing this with a script would be pretty quick, like just, you know, prefixing the word example onto all these things, or changing like the resource's name to have example and such in it. But I don't know, the amount of time to build that script for something that I'm literally only ever going to do once, and it's very specific sort of to this project, at least for now. I don't think it's quite worth it. Not like that that Python script that I built to rename all the files in the Carnegie Mellon library. I built that because it literally, like the hour that I spent building it, was going to save me tons of time, probably several hours worth as I look through that in the future. And I'm sure that quite a few other people had a need for that script as well. Just from what I saw, like people saying basically it's really hard to look through a bunch of numbers in Unity, and it takes a lot of time to jump back and forth between the scripts. So we're almost done here, renaming all these. Okay, good. So now let's see, we have channeled effects, and basically just do the same thing with all these. And I don't have any specific spell icons for those, so just sample spell. Whoops. Remove alpha there because we want to make sure we're only working on these ones. Okay, yeah, we have to make a bunch of prefabs for these. There's a bunch of stuff that the simple balls I made are going to be okay for, and then we'll probably have to go through this and clean it up and make a bunch of prefabs and stuff after. So just looking through these are all okay, those are all okay. Direct effects, we got that. Projectiles, teleport effects look okay. All right, good. So on to the instant ones. Some of these we may not end up using, like some of them are kind of redundant. But I'm just going to go through and create them all anyway. It's easier to just create them now than have to create them one at a time in the future. So let's see, example spell. Okay, those all look all right. And then yeah, that's fine. So we can do these as well. And then we should update the descriptions for everything too. Including all these things as well, rather than just including like a single version of everything. Like, I think it'll be a lot easier for people to use the engine if they can see like, oh, if I want to make like an ice bolt type attack, these are, you know, the exact flags I want to use, rather than just giving like sort of one easy example of a spell and leaving people to figure out like the rest of it. So I think that'll be good to include all this stuff. And I don't think I changed any of those yet. Yeah, we'll just change those all to sample spell icon. And then change those all to sample hit icon, I guess. And these are all heal effects, so I'm just going to change them to sample heal icons. And then we'll need to go through and change their names too. Okay, and that looks pretty good. And then we've got a bunch of instant effects, so we'll want to do the same thing for them. And we'll just use sample hit icons. Wow, I don't even know if I'm using some of these anymore. To be honest, I don't think I am. These were like, I replaced these all with the wham hits, I think, and stuff. Most of them. I might be using one of the skill attacks here, but like this white hole blast effect, I don't even think I'm using anymore. The rune sword on hit I am. You can still put sample prefabs in them though, because they still demonstrate like certain things anyway. Okay, good, and that's the last of the instant, and then we have like a pile of status effects here as well. So we need to, whoops, change all those. A lot of these abilities here are gained through the crystals in the game, and I think when I include them in the demo, I might just make them like auto-learned and set them to level 1. So there's like just a fuller selection of abilities available right when you start it as well. Let's actually change all the icons on those, and we'll just make them sample stat icon. the abilities that I have in the game represent like most combinations of features available that you can make with the ability system as well. So this actually looks pretty good because all of these things are basically exactly what you see in alpha, just with the word example in front of them. So if someone's looking for like a specific effect, it'll be really easy to find just by searching by name. Okay, awesome. So that's pretty good. We've got all of our ability effects turned into examples now. And so this is where solar burn dot. We want to replace these with the example versions of these. So example blizzard movement effect. Example ice bolt hit attack. Example ice bolt projectile. Example blood shield AoE attack. Chain movement. Chain weakness. Fireball hit attack. Example earth pulse AoE. Example fireball projectile. Same thing here, example fireball projectile. Example stun 3 seconds. Example ground slam AoE attack. And then this is example ground slam AoE attack. I don't think I use example ground slime AoE. I think I use example ground slime directional now. Anyway, this needs to be example ground slime AoE attack. And nature's embrace tick. Ice bolt projectile. Ice bolt hit attack. Levitated tentacles. Life tether channel. Life tether heel tick. Lightning destruction aura channel. Lightning tether channel. Lightning tether channel again. Meteor strike attack. Nature's embrace tick. Nature sphere AoE. Revive effect. Fireball dot. Fireball dot again. And I think for this prefab I'm just going to use example red sphere. Whoops, right, it was AnyRPG red sphere. Water geyser. Water geyser attack effect. Water geyser attack effect. And tornado projectile. Okay, and then let's just make sure that if we do have any prefabs in here, that they're all, I need to take out this on-hit audio clip. And black ground cracks, I think I'm just going to replace that with the black circle for now. And the ground shock red, I will just replace with the red circle. The green magic circle, I can just replace with my green sphere. Okay, good. So it looks like everything in here is pointing to examples and just our demo sphere. So that's exactly what we want. For this isn't, I'm going to have to do something about the channeled one later. There's actually a specific script that has to go on this thing in order for it to work. So I'll just make like a, I don't know, we might not even be able to do channeled spells. I'm not sure. I'll see like if I can make it work. But these life tether attack, so lightning tether attack. And lightning tether attack again. And then our meteor strike fall here. This is actually going to look pretty funny because it's not going to move. The particular prefab that I have for this, the spell effect prefab, is a spell effect that travels downwards from 5 in the Y position. So this thing is, it's actually just literally going to hang in the air. But I don't really care too much about that right now. There would actually, yeah, that's right. I don't have directional projectiles. That's going to be part of when I add like actually like a meteor storm. So for now, we'll just leave that and we'll fix that up in the future. So meteor strike impact. And then ring of fire ground AoE. And then big fireball hit attack. And that looks okay. We're on the red sphere. Blood shield heal. And then change the fairy meteor to, I don't know, any RPG green, because it heals you, basically. And firebolt hit attack. Wow, interesting. I'm not sure why I have the fairy meteor for the firebolt hit attack, but anyway, I guess we'll just use the green prefab for that. I think it's because I actually don't use this projectile effect for anything, to be honest. Fireball hit attack. And this can just be the red sphere. And firebolt hit attack, same thing, red sphere. Yeah, I think it's the healing missile projectile that I actually use. Healing missile pulse. And instead of fairy meteor, we just do our green sphere. Ice bolt hit attack. And AnyRPG projectile ice. This can just be our blue sphere. And the rune sword healing projectile is basically the same thing as the fairy meteor. So blood shield heal, we'll change that to example blood shield heal and change that fairy meteor to the green sphere. We'll change the levitated tornado effect, but we need to make like a big brown kind of half see-through box for the tornado smoke, so we'll just leave that for now. These look okay. That we need to change. I need to take out the sound effect for that. The ground slam AoE. Yeah, ground slam AoE and ground slam directional. The cartoon crack, I guess the closest thing to that is the red sphere for now. That looks okay. We are using our yellow sphere. Light of revival effect. You know what I want to do for that? Let me just look at this resurrection circle here in the scene. Yeah. You know what? That's okay. I can just use my yellow sphere for that. Okay, so we need to swap out player control for the example version of it. And dark energy, I think I'm going to use purple for that. So violet sphere. Revive effect, that would be a yellow sphere. Take damage blood is a red sphere, that's right. Wham hit, let's just make that, just basically take damage blood, so red sphere again. And white hit is the white sphere, so that's okay. Change that to the example fireball dot. And big fireball explosion, red sphere again. Example blood shield, healing projectile. Remove the on hit from this one, and let's see, rock hit. I think I have a brown sphere. You know what? Yeah, that's fine. And get rid of the on hit sound for that one, and change fireball hit to red sphere. And fireball dot to the example version. Firebolt explosion can just be red sphere. And no audio for that one either. Change that out for the example version of Blizzard movement effect. And change that out for the example version of life tether AoE heal effect. Change that for lightning tether debuff. Stunned effect. This dissipating static is basically blue electricity, so we can just use our blue sphere for that. This melee special hit, basically red is pretty much probably good for that because we're doing damage with it. Rune Sword Healing projectile, so change that out for our example version. Water Shield Slow Effect, change that out for the example version. And Green Energy Pulse gets to become Green Sphere. Same thing, Green Sphere. Nature's Embrace, Green Sphere, because these are all healing spells. Green Energy Pulse, same thing, Green Sphere. Another Green Sphere for the health. The mana ones will actually do the blue sphere, so you know what, let's just go to all the health ones right here and just change them out for green spheres. And then we'll just grab all the mana ones right here and we'll change that out for blue spheres. And then light burst, how about yellow sphere? Okay, and then skill attack blue, so blue sphere. These two explosions here are, oh, we'll change them out one at a time here, probably closest to red spheres. The light speed skill attack is probably closest to a white sphere. The quasar blast, it says yellow quasar blast, so just replace that with a yellow sphere. Rune sword on hit's fine. Shock explosion. What was that? That was, let's call that a red one because it's an explosion that does damage. Skill effect 1. We'll change that to a yellow sphere. I think skill attack, yeah, skill blue was a blue sphere. And the white hole blast, well, the name's right there, white, so make it a white sphere. Okay, good. And then for status effects, Blizzard Aura, wow. I don't have scale here. I think I'm going to come back to Blizzard Aura. There are a couple of spells where I want to make like just giant sort of see-through prefabs, and I think Blizzard Aura is actually one of them. I want basically a circle around the player that's see-through that represents the radius of the AoE spell. So let's change this to example Blizzard Aura AoE. If we actually look at the Blizzard Aura AoE here, we can see the radius is like 30. So I would want a sphere with a radius of 30. So you can basically see exactly where that spell is going to be hitting just visually here. So let's go back into that. I think we're at Blizzard Aura. Yeah, okay. Blizzard Destruction Aura AoE. And this is pretty much the same thing. I want to use the giant sphere for that. So effect material ice. This one I'm just gonna do AnyRPG blue material because we're freezing the guy and turning him blue. I'm gonna remove the sound effect from it and Ice spikes is basically blue, so same thing, we'll just make a blue sphere appear at his feet instead of the ice spikes. That's interesting. The force field red, I'm going to make a giant red sphere for. And just go back and make sure I didn't miss any example things at the bottom there. No. Okay, good. So this will be example blood shield AoE attack. Example bone spikes attack. Purple ground energy. So we have a violet sphere and chain aura AoE. Chained ribbons, closest thing to that is just actually the black sphere, I think, maybe a gray sphere. Dark energy tentacles. I'm just going to use a red sphere for that because they're red tentacles. And levitate AoE, same thing, just change it out for the example, levitate AoE. Earth bomb. Let's just do a brown sphere for that one. Earth pulse dot tick effect. Was that attack? Earth pulse dot tick attack. Yeah, okay. And earth pulse AoE. Flames loop soft. So flames are red, so we do a red sphere. Fireball dot tick attack. The blazing wings. Yeah, those things are awesome. Just a second. Fire destruction aura. Okay, blazing wings, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have anything nearly so cool as the blazing wings. I'm just going to use a red circle for now. We might change that later. Fire destruction AoE. Like I could always just make like a quad or something to appear behind the character instead of those wings. Okay, this is good. These are all just like stat effects, so they don't have any prefabs or other effects associated with them. Tornado smoke, same deal. I need to make a like a black or like a big gray box or something like that. I mean, lightning destruction aura AoE. Electric orb sound, just blue sphere. These ones, I think I actually want to change these and make them like a little bit bigger see-through blue spheres, but just putting blue spheres in there will remind me when I actually go and test them that I need to change that. Lightning tether debuff attack. Lootable's okay. Nature sphere hot tick. And nature sphere AoE. In love hearts, let's just see. I don't think I made a violet sphere, so, or I mean a pink sphere, so we'll just use the violet one. Ring of Fire. For now, I'm just going to do a red sphere, although I may make like a slightly bigger transparent one. Ring of Fire AoE. Whoops. It's supposed to be AoE. There. And that looks okay. Solar energy is a yellow sphere. Solar burn.tick attack. Stun 3 seconds. Dizzy. What did I do for dizzy? I'm just going to make that a yellow sphere. And same thing, just a yellow sphere. And then in love hearts, so we'll just do a violet sphere for that. I'm gonna have to make some sample factions that I can refer to here. Okay, warming ray, hot tick. Water destruction aura. The water shield is just going to be a blue sphere for now. The water geyser, I'm going to make a blue cube for that, so I'm just going to leave that for now. The water shield is a blue sphere. Change that out for water shield AoE. Whoops, what was that? Water shield AoE. Ah, there we go, water shield AoE, okay. And example weakness, this is just going to be a violet sphere. Tornado I need to make that gray cube for. Wind shield AoE. And windshield, same thing, tornado and tornado projectile we can swap out because we have an example one. Okay, and that should do for all of our ability effects. Okay, so these animations I think I need to remove these ones because we don't need them in here. And in fact, the animations themselves really shouldn't even be in the resources directory under animation profiles. So actually, I'm just going to remove those as well because this was a copy directory. The whole point of these resources folders is I'm just loading resources that are managed by my factory, except for this one, which is kind of the exception. So same thing, two-handed sword, we can basically get rid of those animations. And so now we just have our example animation profiles. So I'll change those out because we're going to be, I don't know if we can actually include these weapons yet. I was really having trouble finding public domain animations for weapons. There weren't any in the Carnegie Mellon library. There was a couple of sword animations that were supposed to be sword animations, but they didn't look like a guy swinging a sword. They looked like a guy like playing catch or something like that. So I think we'll just leave these guys for now and then go on to our abilities. Okay, and this is the case. These are all duplicates, so we don't need these. We actually have like our own punch and kick animations. So we'll actually be like creating our own animated abilities for these. I guess, you know what, I'll leave them here and I'll just rename them as I need. But we will keep that overhead slam and change that to sample. Do we have a stun? No. Sample hit icon. And I'm gonna find it. I actually have like a chopping wood animation for this that I'm probably gonna use for like a lot of the abilities where I just can't find anything better. Because the chopping wood icon actually is like an overhead slam with an axe, so it would work for quite a few abilities basically. Overhead slam, change that to overhead slam example version. I guess I'll just I'll make the example versions of these two-handed sword ones, although you know what, we only have that double chop, so I think maybe for now, actually I'll just get rid of like all of them except for that one. And change out the sample for the sample hit icon. And /attack effect. So use example /. Same thing. One-handed sword, we'll just do the exact same thing. This is just going to be example /, I guess. And example /, change that out for sample hit. And then example /. Example overhead slam, and then I'll deal with those guys with the animated attacks later when I actually go through and create all our animated attacks. So now let's see, these are abilities. Dragon's Breath, it's a fire ability. And this is where I'm going to be using these animations, or I mean these, yeah, the animations I found, like the Mickey Mouse animations and such. For the casting prefab, I'm actually going to create like a red transparent box for that. But we do need example Dragon's Breath. And I have a sample food icon. holdable object name. Okay, I'm going to need to create a holdable object name for that. I'm just going to remove the audio from it. We will change out the animation. The ability icon is going to be food and full of ham. Change that out to the example version and restore 100 health. So change that out as well. And then the ice shards, I think I made a sample ice icon. Same thing here, sample ice icon. The casting prefab, I'm going to make that a blue box. It's a directional, similar to the dragon's breath, so we want something that represents that. Let's see, the rest of these, literally, we can just change those out for sample spell, because they're all just sort of more generic. I don't know if I have a fish icon. Do I have a fish? No. I have a food icon though. And same thing, get rid of the zombie. I'm going to need to make a prefab for that and change that out for our food icon. And then restore 100 health. And we need a food icon for this one too. And restore 100 health. Oops. Okay, so magic ring black. Oh, right, this is a casting. Okay, so we need a black sphere because we get like a black ring appearing at our feet while we're casting this. Right, the rest of these are okay, I think. Yeah. Okay, life tether channel. We need to replace that with the example version. And then lightning tether channel on the next one. And we got blue wisps, so it'll just be blue sphere. And change that to example lightning tether and then rename the file. Purple ground energy, so we will use a violet sphere. And life tether AoE effect, change that to the example version of life tether AoE effect. Purple ground energy, so just a violet sphere. Lightning tether AoE effect. Nature's Embrace. So magic ring green can become green sphere. Nature's Embrace tick, we can change that out for the example version. Nature's Embrace AoE, instead of a green ring, just use the green sphere. And Nature's Embrace AoE effect, we can change that out. And then Ocean's Embrace. We'll get a blue sphere for that. And Ocean's Embrace tick. We'll change that out for the example version. Good. So now all of our animated attacks and channeled spells are pretty much good. We have these example ones, which look like they're good. And then, oops. Swap these out for their example abilities. Change that to spell icon. Same thing. Oops, spell icon. And then we have a green ground sphere, or green ground wisps, so just use the ground sphere. And the Light of Revival effect. Light of Revival effect, perfect. So then Necromancy, make one for that. Skull is die, do a die icon, and another die icon down there for green wisps. Replace that with a green sphere. And Necromancy Revive effect. Change that out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Example revive, and I have an alive icon. Let's do that. And I've got an alive icon there. Change that green wisps for a green sphere. And revive effect. We've got one of those in the examples now. So that looks good. And then revive AoE. We'll just use the alive icon again. And then use revive AoE. And green wisps can be changed out to green sphere. And finally, our example wham hit. So we'll just use the hit icon. And that was wham hit effect. Okay, so that looks good. Everything in here is using samples and examples. So then we'll change these abilities here. let's see, we have lots of stuff named fire here. So I'm just going to grab all the fire ones, and we're going to use fire icons for those. And then down there as well. And then we've got the light one here. So that's just a regular spell one, I guess. Same thing here. And then let's see, we have anything else we need to change out? Red sphere and big fireball projectile. And then blast of light, we'll just change that out to our example version. Earth pulse, just spell is probably fine. And then we have yellow wisps. You know what? This is an earth ability, so it gets to be brown wisps, or brown sphere, because we didn't have any brown wisps originally. Earth pulse dot. And then our fireball. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Didn't put those in there. So this gets to be a red sphere and fireball projectile. Once again, red sphere and fireball AoE effect. Firebolt, red sphere, firebolt projectile, ice bolt, frost spell. You know what? I have an ice icon. And this is blue, so it gets to be a blue sphere. And ice bolt projectile. Ice bolt AoE, same thing, just call it ice. And this gets to be our blue sphere. And then ice bolt AoE effect. And replace that with the example. Meteor strike is a fire spell. So we'll use our fire icon. And we get red sphere. And meteor strike fall. Gets replaced with our example version. I think I actually have a sword icon, sure. And then rune sword on hit effect gets changed with example rune sword on hit effect. Solar radiation, do I have a light icon? No, guess not. Sure, it's a regular spell icon then. Whoops. Oh, there we are, okay. And then spell icon, solar burn dot. tornado, I guess. Do we have wind? No. Okay, so spell is good. And blue sphere. And tornado projectile. Right, and I need example tornado. Make sure I did that with example solar radiation. I don't think I did it with rune sword either, no. And meteor strike, same thing. Ice bolt AoE needs those. Okay. Tornado AoE, and this can just be spell icon. Blue wisps is blue sphere, and wind shield AoE just gets replaced with its example version. Water geyser, let's see, do we got a water icon, that's good. And our blue wisps becomes a blue sphere. And we have a water geyser attack effect. This is just named water geyser, okay. And our water geyser AoE can become an example water geyser AoE. With a water icon. And the water geyser AoE. Okay, that looks good. Let's just go back up and make sure we didn't miss anything. Everything is sample, an example, and like blue sphere. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. All right, so now we have some heal effects. Or I mean healing abilities, because we already did the effects and now we're doing the abilities. So I think our icon can just be sample heal icon for everything there. Same thing for the ability icon. They can all just be sample heal icons for now. Okay, and then we just need to make sure we've got all our prefabs done. So this is a green sphere now, and healing circle AoE gets replaced with its example version. This is a green sphere now, and we get healing missile projectile. Change that out for nature sphere. We'll have to make holdable objects for the health potions as well. So that gets to become restore 200 health. This gets to become example restore 200 mana. Restore 500 health. Hey, you know what? We actually have a drink animation that I found in the Carnegie Mellon set, so I'm gonna pull that out later and use it as well, because we'll have to replace these eat and drink animations basically with something that works for us. So restore 500 mana. Restore 1000 health. Example, restore 1000 mana. Restore 2000 health. And restore 2000 mana. And warming ray hot, we can switch out with warming ray hot. Okay, good. So let's just take a look back through. Everything is samples and examples and spheres, so that's good. Professions, let's see. You know what? At first I was just going to do maybe 1 or 2 sample professions for each kind, but considering that these professions are so closely tied to the products that they produce, like potions, scrolls, etc., I think I changed my mind, and we're actually going to include the full set of professions that we have in the game in here as well. So yeah, just to show people the full set of capabilities that you could use right out of the box. So, oh, interesting. Oh, okay, I see here. Basically, I have to select all the craft abilities separately from all the gathering ones. So, alchemy, blacksmithing, cooking, description, jewelry, leatherworking, tailoring, and woodworking are all craft abilities. So we'll choose sample skill icon for those. Okay, then fishing, herbalism, logging, skinning, and mining are all gather abilities. So, I don't think I have gather. Pick. Gathering's kind of the same thing as picking. Can pick flowers anyway. Use a mining pick on the mining nodes. Sure. Okay, these all look okay. Just going through. I'll replace all of the crafting animations in a little bit here when I go through and actually add them. But for now, that looks okay. We only need 2 teleport spells. So if we go back to our ability effects here and we just look at our, where are they here again? Direct effects, teleport. We have teleport, example, combat scene, and example default, default scene. So teleport, example, combat scene, teleport example default scene. Both of these will have the same icon. It's just going to be the port icon. And same right there, just the port icon. The casting prefab, I have green gravity right now, so I'm just going to do a green sphere. And then this one takes us to teleport example. What are we on? We're on the combat scene, so combat scene. And then teleport example default scene. Okay, good. And we still need to replace the animations, but we'll do that a little bit later. So that leaves us with just this stuff right here. Okay, so these are all, let's see, status buffs, right? So I think we can just take all the icons. I don't know, do we have a buff? No, but we do have a stat icon. Good. And same thing for the ability icons. We can just change those all for the stat icons. And then we want to go through and just change all the titles here as well. And the names actually matter. The file names don't matter nearly so much, but the names in this resource name field definitely do matter, because we actually, when we get stuff from our factory, we actually grab it by name, and it's this resource name field that's currently being used, so that we can in the future grab stuff from like databases or whatever without needing to refer to like some ID that's going to change from system to system, or without needing to design like some external ID tracking system in order to get unique IDs that are consistent across different data sources or platforms that we use this on. So for now, string matching, as inefficient as it may be, is the way that we're going to go. Okay, that looks good. So we have yellow wisps can become yellow sphere. And blessing of the makers gets swapped out for the example version. Blizzard aura also swapped out for its example version. Blizzard destruction aura. Swapped out for its example version. We had red wisps here, so we'll use a red sphere. Blood shield, use our version of it. Yellow, hey, wait a minute, just a second. This was earth stuff, right? Yeah, bone spikes. You know what? We'll just use brown because bones are maybe closer to brown than yellow. Bone spikes. And yeah, that all looks good. Buff agility becomes, wait, what's this? Oh, increased agility. Huh. Increased intellect. Increased stamina. Increased strength. And chain aura. Dark tentacles. Sunsworn faction effect. Okay. Fire destruction aura. And we have red wisps, so we'll change that out for red sphere. Actually, just make sure I didn't have any prefabs here. Same thing here, red wisps get swapped out for red sphere. More red wisps swapped out for another red sphere, and ring of fire swapped out for example ring of fire. Blue wisps swapped out for a blue sphere. And lightning destruction aura swapped out for its example version. Lightning shield, we got blue wisps, so blue sphere. And lightning shield swapped out for its example effect. Rock skin, we have yellow wisps. This is an earth effect, so we're actually going to use the brown sphere for it. And rock skin, whoops. And speed of the wolf, buff movement speed. And let's see, Undead Slayer reputation effect. Water destruction aura. That looks good. We got ground spiral blue wisps, so that can become blue sphere. More blue wisps become blue sphere. Water shield status effect. That's what we call that, right? Water shield status effect. Yeah, okay, good. Example, water shield status effect. Violet wisps become violet sphere. Weakness, just straight up changed for our example weakness. Wind destruction aura gets blue sphere. And wind destruction aura changed out for that status effect. Wind shield, same thing, blue sphere. And changed out for wind shield status effect. Okay, awesome. So that covers off our animation profiles and the ability and ability effect system, which was like probably by far the biggest part of making these what happened there? F2 didn't change the name. Okay, let's try it again. F2, yeah, there we go, okay. So we'll swap out our example currencies. And for the goblin ears, I made one called token for that. And for the gold, I'm pretty sure I made a gold icon, and I didn't make a silver icon because I just wanted to use, let's see, did we have coin? No, I didn't do a coin icon, okay, but I did do a money icon. Okay, so let's see here. All these things are quests. I'm not really sure what I want to do about these quests here. Like I could make basically example versions of them. That might actually be kind of fun, just to like put in all of the quest givers and just make like UMA human versions of them. I don't know, for now I'm going to leave that. I still have to basically, I want to decide what to do about that. Let's see, the equipment profiles. Those aren't really necessarily needed. The factions are okay because we need some factions. And I think everybody is just going to get the same icon here, just sample loyal icon. And I need to update all these names here for these guys. All right, that looks good. For the holdable objects, I might go through that later. I think I'll just do the skills for now first. Okay, and let's see, these guys all need icons, and I'm just going to do a generic skill icon for them. And this needs to be example alchemy. And so we've got woodworking here. We're going to change these out for woodworking craftability. And we'll just keep doing that. We want to change that to example skinning and example mining and example logging. Okay, so that covers all of the rest of the skills here, and we now just basically have our items, quests, and recipes to do. So let's see here. I think at this point, what I'm going to do is because we've got like a lot of items here basically. So I'm just going to go through and I'll probably finish doing just the renaming of all this stuff offline and then come back online for another stream when I have something maybe a little more exciting. So I'm going to go through and just change the name of all of these things, add example onto them, update their icons and such, nothing that I haven't already shown on here. And then next time we come back, we'll actually assign animations and assign prefabs other than just the casting prefabs for the rest of this stuff. So that's it for today's stream. Thank you for joining. And as always, if you like this kind of content or you want to see more of it in the future, just subscribe to the Cohesion channel, thumbs up the video, or just leave a message in the comments telling me no or letting me know what you'd like to see. Thanks and see you next time.